Good evening, connoisseurs of chaos, and welcome to Sarcastic History for Sleep, where we explore humanity's most harmonious moments with all the reverence of a cat for a bubble bath. But first, if our delightfully sardonic stroll through France's most agreeable period helps you drift off, do like and subscribe. It helps other insomniacs discover our particular brand of historical cynicism. And let us know in the comments which catastrophically cordial period we should examine next. Tonight, we journey to revolutionary France, that golden age of universal agreement where absolutely everyone got along like a house on fire, literally in some cases. Picture yourself as a French peasant in 1789. You've just enjoyed another nutritious dinner of bread so hard it could double as a murder weapon, seasoned with the bitter tears of economic injustice. Your hovel boasts more holes than a Swiss cheese, though considerably less appetizing. The local lord has just invented a new tax on existing without permission, and your children are learning arithmetic by counting how many relatives died of starvation this week. But rejoice, change is coming. Soon, you'll all be united in perfect fraternity. Nothing says brotherhood, quite like arguing over who gets to use the guillotine next. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Before the delightful decapitations and democratic dismemberment, we must first understand the paradise that was pre-revolutionary France. So, settle in, dear listeners, as we explore how perfectly content everyone was before they decided to fix everything with extreme prejudice. Chapter 1. The Ancien Regime, a symphony of serene satisfaction. France before 1789. Picture, if you will, a land of such exquisite social harmony that it makes a Swiss clock look positively anarchic. A realm where everyone knew their place with the same certainty that water knows to flow downhill, unless, of course, you happen to be paying for the aqueduct. Let us paint this masterpiece of mutual contentment. At the tippy-top of our delightful pyramid sat the king, Louis XVI, a man whose chief accomplishments included being extraordinarily good at locksmithing and catastrophically bad at everything else. Divine right, they called it, though one suspects the divinity in question was having a particularly off day when it came to distributing political acumen. Below his august majesty stretched the first estate, the clergy. What selfless shepherds of souls! They owned merely 10% of all French land, while comprising a whopping 1% of the population. But fear not. They used this modest holding purely for spiritual purposes. The fact that spiritual purposes apparently required vast hunting estates and palatial residences was merely coincidental. Then came the second estate, the nobility, such paragons of public service. Their primary contribution to society involved standing about at Versailles, perfecting the art of the devastating put-down, and discovering new and innovative ways to powder their wigs. They paid no taxes, naturally. After all, looking that fabulous was contribution enough. Which brings us to the third estate, everyone else. The bourgeoisie, the artisans, the peasants, that trifling 98% of the population who had the distinct honor of paying for absolutely everything while owning practically nothing. An arrangement of such crystalline fairness that one wonders why anyone ever complained. Diary entry, March the 15th. The Comtesse de Très Fatigué wrote, adjusting her beauty spot in the gilt mirror. Another tedious Thursday at court. The king spent the entire afternoon dismantling a clock. Her Majesty lost frightfully at cards again, only 40,000 livres this time. The dear thing is learning restraint. Lord Pompeau made the most cutting remark about my new gown. I shall have to destroy him socially. She paused, quill hovering. Cook mentioned something tiresome about the price of bread in Paris, she noted. 20 sous for a loaf, apparently. I told her to let them eat brioche, so much more sophisticated, though I'm told the lower orders lack the palate for it. How they survive on their dreary diet is beyond comprehension, she concluded. One can only pity them. Meanwhile, in a cramped bakery near the Pont Neuf, Jean-Luc kneads dough with hands cracked from endless labor. The flour cost him more than he'll make in profit. Again. Another glorious day in the kingdom, he muttered, wiping sweat with a sleeve already grimy from the pre-dawn start. My eldest has that cough again. Doctor wants 3 livres, he added. Might as well ask for the moon on a silver platter. The tax collector visited yesterday, a delightful gentleman who explained, with great patience, how Jean-Luc's contribution would help maintain the glory of France. The tale, the gabble, the corvée, a symphony of civic duty. Never mind that the Duke up the hill hadn't paid a sou since the Sun King was in short trousers. But we're all in this together, Jean-Luc told his wife, voice dripping with the kind of sarcasm that could strip paint. The nobles need our taxes to maintain their essential work of... What is it they do again? Ah, yes, he remembered. Existing, decoratively. The truly marvelous thing about the ancien regime was how everyone understood the system was perfect. Absolutely perfect. So perfect, in fact, that any suggestion of change was clearly the work of troublemakers and malcontents. Take the parliaments, for instance. These noble law courts spent their days bravely defending ancient privileges against any hint of reform. When finance ministers occasionally suggested that perhaps, just perhaps, the aristocracy might contribute a franc or two to the national coffers, the parliaments would throw themselves upon this assault on tradition with the fury of a cat defending its saucer of cream. The very foundations of society, they'd cry. The natural order, they insisted. As if the Almighty himself had decreed that the Duc de Wherever should own 17 chateaux, while Pierre the ploughman couldn't afford shoes. Yes, France, before the Revolution, was a paradise of social cohesion. Everyone pulling together in the same direction. The fact that said direction involved the vast majority pulling the tiny minority around in gilded carriages was neither here nor there. And if the odd philosophy muttered about reason and natural rights in their coffee houses, well, what harm could a few books possibly do? Chapter 2. Philosophical Picnics and the Dawn of Universal Understanding. While the peasants were busy perfecting the art of starvation, Paris's intellectual elite had discovered something far more nourishing: ideas. Dangerous, subversive, thoroughly unreasonable ideas that suggested, brace yourselves, that perhaps being born into the right uterus shouldn't determine your entire life's trajectory. The salons of Paris hummed with the kind of energy usually reserved for public executions, which, ironically, they'd soon be getting plenty of. But for now, it was all powdered wigs and passionate debate, fueled by enough coffee to float a merchantman. "Gentlemen," cried Antoine de l'Esprit, a young intellectual whose enthusiasm exceeded his facial hair by a considerable margin. "I have just finished Rousseau's Social Contract, and I am positively vibrating with enlightenment." He brandished the book like Moses with his tablets, though considerably less divine and infinitely more caffeinated. "Man is born free, yet everywhere he is in chains," he declared. "The solution is glorious